What's happening? Morning.
Start off with a quick one with you. Sean McDermott said yesterday he's going to be calling the defensive plays for the Bills this year. What kind of challenge is that during the week to balance your time and also during the game to keep track of what's going on while also calling it?
I think he's done it before. I think once you know what your offense is, you can concentrate on the defense. It gets challenging on the sidelines when something happens and you're trying to look at the clipboard, but you got to click over to the offensive side because you don't know what's happening. So you got to rely on your coaches from that aspect. But Sean's been doing it a long time. I think he'll be fine. Because he's done it, I think he's got a good handle on it. I don't think it'll create a big challenge at all, though.
Thank you.
Yep.
Todd, what does adding a player like Baker Mayfield add to the preparation?
It gives us competition. It gives us another warrior. It gives us a guy that's gone to the playoffs before. At least you have a proven guy, someone to compete with Kyle. That'll still make sure we haven't taken dips too low. I think when you lose the greatest quarterback of all time, everybody just assumes you're going to be bad. At least that's the narrative. But it takes a team to win a Super Bowl, and it also takes a team to play ball games. And Tom is great by all accolades. He gets everything he deserves, and he should. But to bring in guys that can still challenge and win, you just have to kind of prepare differently as far as what you're trying to do, as opposed to just say Tom brought a presence with him that you kind of saw. Everybody else has got to earn their stripes, and we're good with that.
You mentioned Tom, I'm sure you've watched players before. Is that more different though because it's a different kind of option? So you mentioned the presence and stuff.
No, it's different because he was the greatest of all time. So naturally, the fanfare that comes with it will be different. You're not going to be running to Tampa to say there's not going to be a billion reporters on the sideline. There'll be normal reporters, but that doesn't mean you take a step down as far as your process of trying to win. I think the guys understand that, and we have some great players on our team. We just happen to have the greatest on our team, but we still have great players on our team to compete, and we look forward and we're excited going forward to see what they do.
Coach, have you had a chance to talk to Kyle Trask since Baker joined the team?
Not since Baker's joined the team. We've talked prior to that. He understands he has a chance to start. He's working his tail off. Me and Kyle have a very good relationship. We've been honest from day one since he's came in there, and I look forward to see what he does.
And at least based off of past years, he's carried three quarterbacks. If in fact that is still the plan, is there, I guess one question is there room with your team to add to that?
There's always room to add one. It's early in the process. We'll see how the voting goes with this third quarterback to see what kind of quarterback you want to add. That'll have a lot to do with it as well. So we'll wait and see how this process goes, and that'll tell you whether you want to go young or old.
One of the biggest things you've seen in Kyle's growth.
Before we changed the offense, is just his knowledge of the game. I think Kyle has a lot of moxie that you don't get to see. Those of us who see him every day, Kyle does more work on the side away from the cameras. Every time I look up and come in the office, he's out there working by himself trying to get better. And I think that's number one for a quarterback to have is inner drive. His inner drive is there. He can read defenses. He can process very quickly, and he can run an offense. It was just when you have a guy like Tom Brady, a guy like that doesn't get many reps, so it's hard to do. So I look forward to him to come out this year and really shows what he can do. I can't give you a specific one. I just know I was on the college trip when I went down to Oklahoma, and everything he stood for as far as leading the team on offense, he had moxie. He had natural leadership skills. It's not overblown. Guys naturally gravitate towards him. He has an excitement he brings toward the game, and he's hungry. And I can live with that. I can live with that right there, and that I liked him a couple of years ago, and that we got him now with an opportunity to have a chance to start. I think it's a good thing for us. I think he's always hungry. I think he's the same.
How do you see the NFC South? Is it too early? There's so much change each year. You won it last year. There's a little down for the other teams. What do you think about going into this season? The other teams have made quite a
The South is always tough. Anytime you play division games, there's not much separation because they know you and you know them. I think the South is going to be tough again this year. It's too early to tell what's going to be done. Everybody's trying to make changes to get better. We worry about ourselves right now trying to get better, so we're in the middle of still making changes and doing things to help us get better, and we'll see what our team looks like come September. But we'll be ready to compete.
How pressing is that vacancy at right tackle right now with Dominic Smith?
It's pressing because we didn't have one. But Luke played it the last game. Like I said, free agency is still in the middle, and we still got the draft, and then we got June 1st cut. So it's a process. We're not panicking right now. You got to find the right fits for your team, and we're sitting there waiting. We have an idea of the things we want to do, and when the process plays out, I think we'll be pretty pleased.
What do you see as your biggest remaining needs on defense?
Trying to find good football players, Obviously, you hope Shaq comes back healthier. With Bunning and Edwards gone, you lose some depth at that position in the secondary, obviously. Losing Nacho, but getting Gaines was a big plus for us there, and we'll see what happens. And we still got Hicks out there somewhere, hopefully. But we'll try to get as many good football players as we can, and then if we have needs, we'll try to fill those as we get going forward. Hopefully, yeah. He's on our radar, so we're still keeping in touch, and we'll see how those things go. When he was healthy, I thought he was very well. I thought he performed well. I thought he fit in great. Him and Vita are a very good force in there, and we'll see going forward.
You mentioned the NFC South. What are your impressions of Derek Carr going to the Saints?
He's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback with the Raiders. In this league, you don't worry about good quarterbacks because they're in the NFL. They're going to be great quarterbacks. You worry about yourself, and you worry about getting better, and then when you play them that week, you prepare for them, and that's all you can do. It's great for the Saints. I don't work for the Saints, so I don't have too much to say.
So your head coach is still defensive guy at number 19. Would you like to take a defensive guy, whether it be at edge or is it best player on the board?
No. It'll be best player on the board unless you tell me Lawrence Taylor's coming out of retirement. Then I'll take him at 19. I'll take him at 1. All right, give me Ray Lewis then. Give me Ray Lewis or Ed Reed. I'll be fine with those two.
Defensively, then, Will Golston an option to bring back?
Yeah, Will's an option too. Like, we have guys out there. Like, we're in the middle of the process. We're in the middle of the process. Obviously, we had to cut some money, so we got to work some tricks, and Jason's done a good job so far with that. And, we'll navigate it going forward. But we're still early in the process, and, there's still a lot to be done. He's an option as well. Like, we have a lot of guys out there that are still in the process that we haven't just let go completely. So we're still in the process of working it out.
Coach, do you foresee Winfield
That's my goal this year. I foresee Winfield's such a playmaker. He's such a good tackler. You want him down there making tackles, but we've talked about it, and I told him I really want him to stay at free safety this year. And if we can help it, and I'm going to try and keep him there and let him concentrate on that because he is a ball hawk, and we need more turnovers, so I would like to leave him there. We have one, but we'll bring one in. He's probably not on the roster at this time.
I know you signed Baker this offseason. Would the Bucs have any interest in Lamar Jackson at all?
He's a great player. Like I said, I just told these guys we're shedding a lot of money. That'll be an insult to a great player like that. So we have our plan. We know we have to get down. It's time for us to get under the cap, and he makes a lot of money. But he's a heck of a player, and I hate playing against him.
Coach, I apologize if Steve just asked this. The slot position, you mentioned Antoine focusing on one spot. For the slot role this upcoming season, do you have sort of somebody in mind, perhaps on the roster? What do you make of the 2023 season?
We have guys on the roster that can play it, but we also want to address that spot as well if we get a chance to address it. But if not, we have guys that can play it. but we would like to find one that can also compete at that spot. And, in this process early on, we'll have that guy.
What are the expectations for Sean White this season, Coach? What are you looking for?
Let's get better. We talked about it becoming more of a complete back. I know the ball went on the ground probably a few too many times that we talked about, the way of him holding the football, number one, taking care of the football, and then with the new offense, I look for him to continually accelerate and get better in all phases to be a complete three-down back.
Is there somebody from last season, Coach, from last season's rookie class, or just first-year players with the Bucs last year that you're looking to make that second year? Looking to see a little something extra. You obviously just mentioned Rashad. Is there anybody else that you're particularly looking for aside from everybody?
Aside from everybody, I would like to see Zion take the next step in the defensive backfield. I think he got hurt at the beginning of last year, kind of set him back a little bit, but I look forward to him. I look forward to seeing Logan Hall make the next step. I thought toward the end of the year, they weren't splash plays, but I thought he really got better doing a lot of things, and he's going to be a big force for us this year. I look forward to him taking the next step mentally.
Yeah, what points do you have in Zion, particularly, considering Sean in particular exit from the team? What is it about Zion that makes you hopeful?
He's a great athlete. He's a great athlete. Before he got nicked up from an athletic standpoint and a size, the height, weight, and speed standpoint and intelligence standpoint, you love what the guy brings to the table. You just got to calm down from a mental standpoint, and the game slows down for him. I look for him to really be a big piece for us to help us going forward. Hey, what's going on? You doing all right? No one does. It comes down because I don't know if there was a 1B next to Tom Brady. When you lose the greatest of all time, you lose an icon, you lose a player that's won 7 Super Bowls, you lose a player that brings such magnitude towards your organization. Doesn't mean you're a bad organization. You have other great players. Great players don't win a Super Bowl by themselves. Great players, you lose the aura. He deserves every accolade he gets. He should go in the Hall of Fame by himself. But you don't lose the team you have. You change it. It's different because you don't have Tom Brady, but no one else has Tom Brady either. So you bring in the necessary pieces to still help you compete, and you make sure the team is playing good ball, and you go that route. And I look forward to the excitement that the guys we have to prove that they can still play away from Tom coming into this season.
Are the expectations from you the same as they were the last 2 years?
No, definitely. You're trying to win the division first. If you can win the division, give yourself a shot in the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl. That's not going to change. We have to go about it with different players, but everyone does. That's just part of football. That's going to change. I mean, you can't bring in a guy to say he's the next Tom Brady. You're going to bring in another good quarterback and let him run the team and be himself and have things around him to make him be himself, and you win that way.
Someone told me you liked Baker coming out of the draft. Is that true? And what is it that you like about that?
No, I did like him coming out. There was a few guys down there. They all could play, but I really liked him. We kind of hit it off mentally from that standpoint. You liked his moxie. You liked his leadership skills. You like the way he can get out and throw on the run some. You like that fact that he's won in several places where he's gone, and you like that leadership about him. So you like the naturalness about him, and it'll be great for him to come in and compete with Kyle. I think they're 2 different types of quarterbacks, and I think we can win with either one.
What do you need to get out of your quarterbacks to be a winning football team? Obviously, everybody wants 40 touchdown passes, right?
Well, you want to be effective. You want to be effective, whether it's run or pass. You don't need to be the guy. You need to rely on the 10 guys around you. You know, you don't need to be the guy. We're not looking for a guy to come in there and be Superman. We have great players. You have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, you have Rashard, you have Tristan, you have Ryan Jensen, you have Cade Otton coming. You have guys that you can play with, and you have pieces, so you don't have to be the guy. You just really need to drive the car. I don't know if you looked at us, but we were like 55, 60 something million over the cap, so we weren't really having those conversations.
There were financial restrictions.
For it, yeah, as always, financial restrictions. That's big for us.
Hey, Coach, what caught your eye about Dan Pitcher, quarterback's coach in Cincinnati?
Well, I saw him a year ago, but when we played him, you know, he does such a great job. He did a great job developing Joe Burrows. He does a great job schematically helping out. When I interviewed him, I think he's going to be a heck of a coach in this league, and he brings something to the table from an ingenuity standpoint about running an offense that you normally don't get in this league, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Could you tell that from just sitting down and that he kind of looks at things?
Just talking to him, you can tell that just by talking to him. I think he does a great job.
What do you think about that scheme, Coach, that they're running in Cincinnati? Maybe the second part, I guess, what are the challenges?
Challenges, schemes aren't the challenges. You got a lot of number ones up there with Chase and Burrows, T.R. You got a lot of great players up there, too. The scheme is part of it. Having great players is another part of it, and they got a lot of weapons up there. And that's not even counting Mixon yet. They got a lot of great weapons up there.
Do you need your defense to do more?
Always. You know, as a coach and a defensive coach, you always want them to do more. And they play well at times. I'm not taking anything away from them. They play well at times. I thought we should have more turnovers. We got to be better in the run game this year. There's always things to get better at. And I'm not bashing them because I think they play hard. And I think we do a lot of good things. I just think we have to clean up some things mentally and be on the same page to be better.
Coach, thank you.
Yep.
We got Levante back, we got Dean back, we signed Nelson. How does that sort of affect morale of the defense and the kind of the plan moving, knowing that you can have those guys taken care of?
It's good to have those pieces. We're always trying to get better. You know, if we can add pieces in addition to those guys to make us better, we're going to try and do that.
Why does Levante mean so much to this team, you know, and having him there, even just 1 year as of now? Why does he mean so much?
Well, number one, he can play. You know, that's the number one thing. We're not going to have a guy that can't play. Number one, I think everybody points towards his leadership first. I think it's his play first of all. He's a very good football player still, and that's why we brought him back, number one. His leadership and Devin's leadership are critical for us going forward defensively, along with Winfield and Vita. You know, those guys bring a lot to the table, and they teach you how to be professional, and you don't want to let guys like that down. So it's important for us to have them back. You got it. Good seeing you. Nels, I think I'm done here. I thought Luke started out learning. I think he's a very physical football player. I think he's going to help us this year. He's going to play somewhere on the line. We're not quite sure where yet. You really like him at guard. Then he showed he can really play tackle at the end of the year. So depending on how the draft and the rest of the free agency goes, we'll kind of find one of the two spots for him. But it's good to have the versatility. I don't think it matters with him. You know, certain guys it does. He does have the height, and he does have the fight, so I don't think it matters with him.
Tom, what's it like from a coaching standpoint when a team clearly has to scale back financially a little bit like the Bucks did, or you're still trying to get the best roster you can, but the team has some considerations?
You understand, you know, when you get to a certain point as a football coach and you have a roster that you have a chance to win the Super Bowl, you go all in and try and do that. And you understand how it's going to come out later, but I thought we did a good job maneuvering to get down and yet still keeping some of the pieces to help make us competitive. So I think Jason's done a great job and at that standpoint, and the Glazers do a great job of giving us the resources to try to go out and get the right pieces we need.
What does Baker Mayfield give you in this offense?
He gives us some competitive juice, to go along with Trash. Baker's won in college. He's been to the playoffs as a pro, and he brings us a lot of leadership. I think this style of offense is going to fit him very well, and I think it'll be a good battle between him and Trash to see who can win it.
Coach, can I ask you a question about what charities and causes you're most passionate about?
Obviously, Autism Speaks is my number one charity because of my youngest son. He's autistic. I think it doesn't get enough attention because you don't know how to read it, and that's probably my biggest number one charity. Number two is pancreatic cancer, for losing my mother that way. I think it's a real big deal to try to find cures for that, because once you get to stage 4, it becomes awfully difficult. And I think the Boys and Girls Club, I like collaborating, doing things with Levante David from that standpoint to help kids get out and have a better life.
One of the things I really admire about you is how involved you are in the community. I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, how hard is it to move on from Tom Brady and quarterback personnel? Tom Brady, starting this year with Baker, how much of a change is it going to be? Both in the clubhouse and locker room.
It's a change. Anytime you lose the greatest of all time, that's a big presence that leaves your team. But that does not mean the cupboard is bare when you lose someone like that. You have to win different ways, and we have good players on our football team that understand that, and it's just about the camaraderie and the way we teach it and the way we execute it, how we win going forward, and I think they understand that very well, and we have the leadership to do that.
How have you grown as a coach from time as the Jets to now coming in here and taking over Tampa Bay?
Thank you.
What have you done differently, or what lessons have you learned, or how do you think you've grown personally as a coach?
I think I'm still growing. I think you learn some decisions that you have to think about as a first-time head coach just roll off the tongue as a second-time head coach. I don't think you let every off-field situation bother you like to the bitter end. I think you take them all in stride and you separate them, and there's going to be some up and down days, and how you navigate and manage them days are a lot easier the second time around than they are the first time around. You can always grow from a scheduling standpoint and a play calling standpoint, and I think I've grown from a media standpoint. I think I've grown just from an overall how I view the game standpoint. I think that's helped me a great deal coming from New York. I was just thanking Woody and Chris yesterday on how great the experience was up there to help me become a better coach, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Makes you think you're better with the media. Just kidding.
Ignore. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say that. Whew. Got it. Oh, good. You did. You did. You did.
I'll attest to it. You've
That
changed
was
a lot
very
since your
good.
days in New York. You've grown a lot that way.
Sunshine will do that to you. It does that to you.
Just no, good.
Sorry, Diana, were you wanting to pop in? I know.
No, good.
Coach, can you give any information to the kicker position? We let Ryan go recently. What's happening?
We'll have one in. We're working on it. We're confident we'll have a guy in there that can make some kicks, and it's a process right now. It's still early on, but we have guys in mind that we kind of know where we need to be.
Did you decide whether Tristan Wirfs is going to stay on the right side or if he goes to the left?
He's on the right now. As free agency goes on and draft goes on, we'll try to make a decision somewhere around the line. But we know he's a great right tackle. He can always play right tackle. So we'll see going forward. Yep.
What's going on?
What's up, Mike?
Good to see you.
You too, always.
Doing all right?
Oh yeah. I almost said something to Diana, but I didn't.
That's the growth.
I had to see who it was.
Growth.
I had to see who it was.
That's the growth.
That was funny.
Comes to the evolution.
You're right. You're exactly right.
How energized do you feel by this challenge?
I feel very energized. I feel very energized because it's the unknown, and we do have good players on our team. So I look forward to those guys stepping up and making a difference. And anytime you have a guy of that magnitude, you think it's a down thing, but it's really not. You kind of got to look up. Like, I'm a big basketball guy. Like, when LeBron went down, the Lakers stepped up. You kind of gotta, look at them in the icon category like that. If you got the right pieces on your team, you're gonna have to win games without your stars, and that's how I look at it.
Are there aspects of like these players you talk about, Jay, like whether it's from a leadership standpoint or even an ability standpoint, that maybe for some reason or another they didn't get a chance to show or didn't show because of Tom's presence? Like there's a
No, I think the guys that played. I think the guys that have the ability are having a chance to play this year. You'll see more of Rashad White. You'll see more of Todd, and you'll see more of Luke Gedeke. You'll see more of these guys. You kind of know what Mike and Chris and Jensen and Tristan and all those guys are going to do, but we have other guys that can really play football, and I look forward to building the team and adding guys to that mix to help us win.
Bucks, long before you got here, had an interesting history with kickers. You had a lot of success with Jason Myers and how do you evaluate that kicker out there now, looking at the potential?
Obviously, consistency is number one. You want guys that can kick 50 plus right now. I mean, I think that's the big weapon if you can get a guy that has distance that way, especially in Tampa. You want longer field goal kickers from that. But evaluation and mental toughness is critical going in as a kicker. So you kind of look at things that way. And, some guys blossom late. Some guys been kicking for a long time that can still do it. Sometimes you have to get some new guys. So we have a couple guys we'll try out and see which one's the right fix for us. And you kind of never know until you get under that pressure of kicking it. Some guys have a track record, some guys don't, but we're wide open in that aspect. Depending on who we sign, there should be competition there, but if we sign a good one that we already know can do it, then it kind of takes care of itself. I mean, the weather's nice, so you should be able to kick the ball a long way. That's all I mean. Good, guys.
When you have a guy come in at that magnitude, the Jets may be adding a quarterback similar to that soon. I'm just curious, how do you strike a balance of this is what we run versus finding out what that guy likes and kind of incorporating someone that has that resume into the plan process?
I mean, for us, it was a process. When Tom came in, Bruce was such a great offensive coordinator, and him and Byron, they had a plan, and we have our system. But you also have to listen to see what he's comfortable with as well. I can't speak for anybody else, but it was a good collaboration with our guys once we got them in going forward. So it's a lot of give and take there. You want to run your system, but you want to help him be successful. So you want to bring some things to the table that he does well as also.
How different is it coaching a guy like that versus when you had Sam or someone young and you're bringing them along?
From an experience standpoint, it's different. Obviously, you have an established guy that kind of can run it with his eyes closed and the work ethic's there, and then you have a young guy that you have to bring along to learn the system and learn the NFL game. So I think there are two different ways of teaching that. So you're still trying to find out about a young guy. The old guy, you know what he can do. It's just a matter of collaborating and still do the things you want to do and the things he wants to do. He's been here already. We've had a 2-hour conversation in the hallway already, so he's good. He's good.
Like 2 hours to you?
We had breakfast.
4 minutes.
4 minutes conversation.
What about Todd personnel decisions? You guys, how much did you guys lean on Tom in terms of like this guy, obviously Gronk comes to mind, but like guys that you played with, guys that you like to play with?
If there was a receiver or a tight end, I mean, Bruce made all the decisions back then. So you run the team how you run the team. You can't tailor the team towards a quarterback. You can get a guy here and there, or you can listen and look and see if it fits. But, the coaches and GM run the team. I thought Hainsey came a long way when Jensen went down. I thought Hainsey did a very good job during the season. I think he's very versatile. I think he's a valuable piece for us. I think it goes very underrated, the job he did. from an intelligence and toughness standpoint. We know he can play guard as well. He'll be in the mix as far as doing some things we want to do with the center guard combination when Ryan comes back. And, we just look forward to getting better and see where he goes. But I was very pleased with everything he did.
Always good to see you.
You too,
Check
Mike.
with you
You
soon.
got it.
All right.
Holler if you need me.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Yep, you got it. Guys.